Hi y'all, it's Belle. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my top 14 of 2021. If you saw the last video, I did 34, I think it was, of my favorite middle grades of 2021. Editing Belle. I didn't know you'd be able to see it, which is weird that I thought that since it's so huge, but I have a few small bruises around my left elbow and then on my right upper arm on the inside there's a huge bruise. We had before we got the 16 plus inches of snow recently, before that there was like snow and drifting, blowing snow, and I was out in it, and I went out outside the back gate and took my dog. My husband wasn't home yet, and the wind blew the gate shut, and I was like, oh no, and it latched it, and there was no way to get back in. I had to bring one of our huge trash cans from out front that we take to the road for the trash people to come get, you know. And I took the garbage can and I laid it on its side, and I had to stand on it, and the gate has like spiky tops on the top, and I had to try to lean over, and the gate you have to like lift up while you're trying to unlatch it, and there's no way to do that when I'm leaning on it, and I'm trying. And then I slip and fell, and I even broke part of the wooden part of the gate off, which is good because it made it easier the next time I tried to lean forward and unlatch. It was like perfect for where my arm needed to be. But I came down, and that's how that bruise happened. So when I tried again, there's no way it should have done it because you have to lift up so hard to get it to unlatch. And I was just praying, God please, because it was snowing so bad and so cold. And I felt it just unlatch, and I was like, there's no way. So that was a crazy experience in many ways, but that's where the bruise came from. Okay. And like I mentioned in the other video, I had decided to do this, doing some 34 favorites and then the top 14 as I was filming that video. So instead of re-recording some of the books that I wanted to put in this video, I'm just going to take from that video and put in here. So I'll be wearing a different shirt because it'll be from that video. So that's what that is. Those will be 11 through 14, so I'll be in the shirt from that video. And then I will go into my top 10, which will be the shirt. So it'll be in this video. Oh, I'm confusing myself. So let's just get started. The Secrets of the Twilight Djinn series by Peragine. And this is Max and the Spice Thieves. This is the first book. And then the second book is Max and the Isle of Sanctus. Editing Belle. I didn't read the synopsis in my 34 favorites of 2021, which these first 4 were originally in because there were so many books, but I do read the synopsis for my top 14, so that's why it goes back and forth between that video shirt and then this shirt, because I'm adding the synopsis since I wrote them for the rest of the books. So that's why that is. Okay. When his mother goes missing, Max Daybreaker's world is turned upside down. Luckily, a crew of spice pirates, led by the mysterious Captain Sin, help Max on his dangerous mission across the 3 seas. Along the way, an unlikely alliance aids in his search: a teenage warrior queen, a 3-eyed seer, and an assassin spy. Their journey takes them through treacherous lands while facing shape-shifting bears, an ancient witch, harpies, and the nightmarish Djinn, who will stop at nothing to enslave the world. With every new challenge, Max unlocks the secrets of his unsettling past. Powers awaken within, forcing him to question everything he knows. Is Max who he thinks he is? Only time and destiny will tell. And I didn't think I could get better than the first one, and then the second book was even better. So I can't wait for the third book. They're very dark, upper middle grade. You got pirates, the Djinn, harpies, witches. There's just so much. The glass whales. There's so much going on. And Captain Sin, and like the pirates are like food pirates, like spice pirates. And I've said this before, but Pirate Sin makes me want to get in the kitchen and act like I'm some 5-star chef. I already love cooking and I love creating stuff and making food, but he makes me want to get in there and like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's so amazing. And these are just so full of danger and so creative, unique, original stories. I just love these books so much. And I'm so thankful that the author reached out to me to begin with, because I don't think I would have known. And I'm just so grateful for that, and for Instagram and what that's shown me as far as books that I never would have known about. These amazing authors. And the bears and the changing, and oh, there's just too many things. These are so good. definitely upper middle grade, but they just keep you hooked. Hidden Knife by Melissa Marr. And she did say there's a sequel coming and she's finishing it up, I think, so I'm so excited. 20 years ago, a door opened between the world of humans and the Netherware, allowing entry to its magical creatures. Some, like the Kelpies and fairies who bite, are best avoided, but the wise and wonderful gargoyles show a special affection for humans. Vicky has grown up under the watchful eye of a gargoyle named Rupert. She's gifted at swordcraft and magic, but can't figure out why her mother, once one of the Queen's fearless ravens, keeps her hidden away and won't let her train at the elite Corvus school. When Vicky's world is rocketed in a devastating attack, she realizes it's time for her to use her gifts. But knowing who to trust isn't easy, so she bands together with an alchemy student and a former street thief to seek answers on the perilous streets of Glass City. And all the while, the gargoyles watch and nudge toward healing, not harming. With their steadying influence, Vicky and her friends just might be the generation to expose the court's secrets and find a way to a better future for all. This was so good, so dark, such an interesting idea for a story, and I loved it. And this girl right here, man, she's something. I loved, these characters are phenomenal, and every detail of this, man, it was so good. So, like I said, I reviewed it in another story. And the gargoyles, oh, so good. Loved it. And then Enter a Glossy Webb by McKenna Ruebush. Such a beautiful cover. George, please don't call her Georgina, has no idea what's in store for her when she's sent to her eccentric relatives following the disappearance of her brother. Just as she begins to settle in, she receives a note from Uncle Constantine, informing her that he's in dire need of help. So George sets off again, now on a mission to find her uncle. Along the way, she's joined by Michael and Caleb, two orphan boys, and Cavendish the Talking Map. Together they form the Schneffelharp Company, an alliance propelled into magical worlds full of enchantment and danger as they attempt to locate the Timekeeper. What starts out as a mystery to uncover George's brother and uncle builds into an epic quest in the Flyery. If they fail, the very cosmos will cease to exist. Are these hopeful heroes up to saving the past, present, and future for all the worlds? There was supposed to be more. It even says, coming soon, Escape the Silken Thread, Book 2. But the author had said, for some reason, I can't remember if it was the publisher or not, but they decided not to. And she was going to decide what to do. I hope she does something on her own because there's so many answers I need. So I hope she does because, man, the story was good. I loved this story so much. Like the flying doors, where they go, her family, what she learns about them, and everybody she meets, the two orphans that she meets and goes with her along the way, everything they find, and her uncle and aunt, and then trying to help her uncle, and then the villain. Everything they see is so vivid and atmospheric and detailed with such creative and imaginative details. I love this world, and I really hope she continues because I want more. This was so good. And then these two. Monstrous by MarcyKate Connolly, and then Ravenous. Such beautiful covers. You can see the house with chicken legs on the back of that one. And this is after the events of this one, but it's following a side character that was in this one, kind of like the other ones. The city of Briar suffers under the magic of an evil wizard. Because of his curse, girls sicken and disappear without a trace, and Briar's inhabitants live in fear. No one is allowed outside after dark. Yet night is the only time that Chimera can enter this dangerous city, for she must not be seen by humans. Her father says they would not understand her wings, the bolts in her neck, or her spiky tail. They would kill her. They would not understand that she was created for a purpose, to rescue the girls of Briar. Despite her caution, a boy named Wren sees Kim and begins to leave a perfect red rose for her every evening. As they become friends, Kim learns that Wren knows about the missing girls, the wizard, and the evil magic that haunts Briar. And what he knows will change Kim's life. This one, I had went back and forth about 4 or 5 stars, but I went back and made it 5 stars because the whole book was everything I wanted and more, except for the ending. 2 things happened that destroyed me and are not what I want to read about. I didn't think I had to worry about. It is a middle grade, but it's darker upper middle grade. But since except for those 2 things, it was so phenomenal, and that's just a personal thing that I don't want to be sad. So it's definitely a 5-star, and I didn't have to worry about in this one. And I've heard that her other duology that I have, I don't have to worry about that stuff either. So I can't wait to read more from her because her writing is so good. It's so phenomenal. These are dark, original, so imaginative. They hook you. so immersive, very unique and creative and dark. And I mean, just look, she has a tail and like everything about it, it's so good. I love these so much. And the characters, they just have your heart. And then you have just everything. They're just so good. I can't wait to read from her again, especially knowing that I don't have to worry about being sad. Okay, so for my top 10, and these aren't gonna be really in a particular order. Like these first two, I guess could be considered 10 and 9. But then the rest of the top 10, it's just so close, I couldn't tell you. Like they're all, except for the last 3. Oh, you'll see what I mean. But these first 2, I guess you could say, are 10 and 9. We have Ophelias Ghost by Justina, Ireland. Ophelia Harrison used to live in a small house in the Georgia countryside, but that was before the night in November 1922 and the cruel act that took her home and her father from her, which was the same night that Ophia learned she can see ghosts. Now Ophie and her mother are living in Pittsburgh with relatives they barely know in the hopes of earning enough money to get their own place. Mama has gotten Ophie a job as a maid in the same old manor house where she works. Daffodil Manor, like the wealthy Carruthers family who owns it, is haunted by memories and prejudices of the past, and, as Ophie discovers, ghosts as well. Ghosts who have their own loves and hatreds and desires. Ghosts who have wronged others and ghosts who have themselves been wronged. And as Ophie forms a friendship with one spirit whose life ended suddenly and unjustly, she wonders if she might be able to help, even as she comes to realize that Daffodil Manor may hold even more secrets than she bargained for. I love the location of this because it's about an hour and a half where I now live, and I just love seeing things from there. And historical fiction, love. Ghosts, love. Important messages, love. So atmospheric with this manor and the ghost and then the historical aspects. And Ophelia is, I don't know if I said her name wrong when I first said this, Ophie's Ghost. I don't remember if I showed the cover or not. She is such a great main character. She has such a tragic event happen in the beginning, and such a hateful, tragic event. And that scene and her father, I just had goosebumps, and that was such a powerful scene in so many ways. And there's so many important messages in here about just so many. A lot of prejudice, I can't ever say that word. Prejudice is racism, and so many wrongs of the past that can come back to haunt. And it's such a, they justly should come back to haunt, but then you don't want to become like them, the people that, I don't want to spoil it. But it's a great eye into how things used to be and how things still are in many cases in the world, which is so sad. I mean, 1922, and then, well, that just hit me. 1922, 100 years later, 2022, we're still dealing with a lot of the same things. But her ghost, the ghosts that are in the manor, the backstory of each of the ghosts, the backstory of this family, the Carruthers family that she's now working for, and the mean old lady in the bed that she helps wait on some. It's all so gripping and fascinating. Each of the ghosts, one ghost in particular, and the twist at the end. Oh, it was so good. I love that, and I love how it all came together, and I love Ophie with my whole heart. She is so great, and all the characters are amazing. And I think it's her cousins where they have to go and stay. I couldn't stand them. But I just love this. Highly recommend it. And then Orphans of the Tide by Struan Marr. And then the sequel, Shipwreck Island. And the third one should be coming out in a couple months, I think it is. Or a couple months. I'm very excited. The city was built on a sharp mountain that jutted improbably from the sea, and the sea kept trying to claim it back. That gray morning, once the tide had retreated, a whale was found on a rooftop. When a mysterious boy washes in with the tide, the citizens believe he's the enemy, the god who drowned the world, come again to cause unfold chaos. Only Ellie, a fearless young inventor living in a workshop crammed with curiosities, believes he's innocent. But the enemy can take possession of any human body, but the ruthless Inquisition are determined to destroy it forever. To save the boy, Ellie must prove who he really is, even if that means revealing her own dangerous secret. This was phenomenal. Like, it starts off with a bang. Like, the scene in the very first scene, and I'm not gonna spoil it, but it's just, I was like, what? My mouth was just like hanging open. And it's just such a imaginative, dark, creative book, full of adventure, danger, like I said. And the enemy, and they think they're the only land out there that's not below the sea, I think it was. And the Inquisition, and then this boy and his backstory, Ellie, her backstory, her friends, especially one friend in particular. It's just so great. It's so thrilling. And then you get chapters from a diary of someone, and those were so fascinating, and you're just on the edge of your seat and you keep guessing about stuff, and then the twists at the end were so good. And there's some illustrations sprinkled throughout by a favorite illustrator, Manuel, Šumberac. So I cannot wait for the third book. These are so good. So books 8 through 5, I think it's going to are basically a tie for spot 5, because I can't decide what number, because I love them all equally. They're all so phenomenal. So the next 4 books are basically all number 5 on the top 10. First is Fireborn by Fowler. I think I'm saying that right. North of the Fangs was where all the beast stories and worst monsters came from, and that's where 7 was. 12 is a huntling. She gave up her name and identity to train in the art of fighting monsters, but while her fellow huntlings train to keep the peace, 12 secretly builds her skills to take revenge on those who murder her family. Then 12's new home is attacked, and all her plans are thrown into chaos. Her mentor is killed, and a fellow huntling named 7 is captured. 12 decides to rescue 7 alone, but finds herself joined by 2 classmate rivals and an ancient stone guardian named Dog. To save 7, 12 and the others must face new enemies and old terrors alike on a treacherous journey, one that will lead 12 to discover dark truths about her world, her powers, and the past she has so desperately tried to hide. This was so good. I like dark, upper middle grade, obviously, magical. Well, Dog has my heart, and there's, I think it's a fire sprite in here, who I can't wait to learn more about. I had a soft spot for him too, and everything is so creative, from their names, to having to go with their names and then them getting a number, the backstory of this world, the backstory of 12 and her reasons for doing things. And when she sleeps, she tries not to sleep. She'll even take a tonic so she doesn't dream. She relives her past, and it's too painful for her because her whole family was murdered. And so you get to see what her life was like, and then you get the memory of when it happened. She has all this guilt, because just like any sister relationship where you grow up together so close, and she has a lot of guilt about her sister. And so there's great messages about that too, and other things. And then her little squirrel friend, I think it's a squirrel. It's just so good. And then learning to trust and make friends, and they become their own little like found family. And the danger, the action, the adventure, like I said, just so creative, imaginative, immersive, fast-paced. Just such a fantastic story. It's like a Viking type story, but not Viking. I don't know how to explain it. Man, really good. I had read an arc. I had won this in a giveaway. The Witch, the Sword, and the Cursed Knights by Alexandria Rogers. It says it goes on sale February 20th, so next month it'll be on sale, which is exciting. Can't wait to get a beautiful finished copy. 12-year-old Ellie can't help that she's a witch, one of the most hated members of society. Determined to prove her worth and eschew her heritage, Ellie applies to the Fairy Godmother Academy, her golden ticket to societal acceptance. But Ellie's dreams are squashed when she receives the dreaded draft letter to serve as a knight of King Arthur's legendary Round Table. She can get out of the draft, but only if she saves a lost cause. Enter Caedmon, a boy from Wisconsin struggling with the death of his best friend. He first dismisses the draft as ridiculous. Magic can't possibly exist. But when Merlin's ancient magic foretells his family's death if he doesn't follow through, Caedmon travels to the knight's castle, where he learns of a wicked curse leeching the knights of their power. To break the curse, Ellie and Caedmon must pass a series of deathly trials and reforge the lost, shattered sword of Excalibur. And unless Ellie accepts her witch magic and Cayman rises to become the knight he's meant to be, they will both fail, and the world will fall to the same darkness that brought King Arthur and Camelot to ruin. This is another Arthurian tale that isn't about King Arthur, but part of that world, which I always appreciate. It's its own story in its own right, for sure. And so you have a main character from, and the chapters alternate between both of them. Caedmon's from the real world, never knew about magic till now. And then Ellie is a witch, where witches, in this world, where witches are hated, and she wants to be a fairy godmother, so she's trying to fight this witch side of her. And there's all this mystery surrounding her and her backstory and everything she can do and what she's going to be able to do in the future. I'm just so excited to see. Such phenomenal character growth and development for both of them, and their friendship is so amazing. Like, I love their friendship. They grow, it's just so good. It's definitely a new spin on the Legend of Camelot, and when it says it's for fans of the School for Good and Evil, totally see that, because I'm in love with this and I cannot wait for more. It's just so good. So creative, very imaginative, can get dark. And then fighting the pieces of Excalibur, and then the villain, it's all so intriguing. And I just flew through this. And then you have the Knight's Castle, which is like a school setting, which is perfect, and I love that. It's just such a great setting. It's very atmospheric, and it's just so good. And then Kelsey Murphy and the Academy for the Unbreakable Arts by Erica Lewis, and this is another arc, comes out in March. This is one that came that I don't remember how I got it. I had entered a giveaway, but I didn't remember getting any messages about it, so I didn't give my ad, I don't know, but I was happy either way. And then this one, it says The School for Good and Evil meets Marr and the Knight Brothers, and it's, if you ever wondered what if Harry Potter had been sorted into Slytherin, so all of that had me so excited, and I was not let down. When Kelsey Murphy tests into the Academy for Unbreakable Arts, she learns that she's a Saga, one of the most ancient beings in the Otherworld, and kin to its most infamous traitor. But Kelsey is a survivor, and she'll do whatever it takes to find her place in this world, even if that means making a few enemies. And it's brimming with Celtic mythology, action, and danger, and it introduces readers to a new kind of magical school and a warrior who must choose on which side of an epic battle her destiny will lie. So it's got a blend of mythology and magic, great world building. And I just stayed on the edge of my seat, and Kelsey is such a great main character. And this whole school, like, I just love a good school setting, especially a magical school. This school is fascinating. The backstory, the teachers, the different Djinns, I think they were called, and they each have different abilities, and her ability, like how rare it is and what she can do, and everything we learn about her ability, and about her and her backstory, her family, and everything that comes out, and the twist. Oh, it's so good. And great humor and banter between these four friends, because I can't remember if the Djinn, I think that maybe the Djinn was called what you get sorted into, like your groups, and the groups were 4 kids, and one from each of the different, I forget what they were called, but the different abilities. So each, okay, let me look. Okay, a Djinn is when the students' powers are unlocked, they are designated to a Djinn, and that's where they will be lodged during their time at the school, so they can interact with the others that have similar abilities and learn from their peers. So that's what the Djinns are. And then the Fianna is the unit of students. A unit a student is assigned to. Typically, there are 4 members. Editing Belgium. I forgot to say where I'm reading this information from, but in the back there's a short glossary of terms used in here, and it's just so great. So the Fianna has 4 members and 1 from each Djinn. So each kid in each Djinn has a different ability. So Kelsey and the 3 other members of her Fianna are all from different Djinns, and they each have different abilities. But they become like their own little found family, and they form the best friendship. And each is all so incredible. And there's great messages in here, and just so much great stuff. And I just loved it. And I cannot wait for more. And then Last Wind Witch by Jennifer Adam. I cannot wait for her next book that comes in a couple months. I was hoping this will be a series, but it doesn't look like it's going to be. I mean, it doesn't need to be. It ended perfectly, but that's just how I am when I love books so much. I want more of the same characters in the same world. Many years ago, there was a powerful wind witch who wove the seasons, keeping land bountiful and the people happy. But then a dark magic drove her from the realm, and the world fell into chaos. In her small village of Oak Hollow, Rita has been sheltered from both the tempestuous kingdom and the wicked queen's reign. Apprenticed to a hedge witch, Rita's only concern is finding a way to make her fickle magic work so she can finally prove herself as a hedge witch. But when she accidentally catches the attention of the queen, Rita learns that there is more to her magic than she ever realized. On the run from the queen's huntsman and her all-seeing crow spies, Rita discovers the truth about her family and who she is destined to be, and that she may be the key to defeating the wicked queen and setting the kingdom right again. Such a dark, magical story. Rita is such an amazing character. The hedge witch that she's training with, so wonderful. The friends she makes when she goes on her journey, phenomenal. I love them. It's just such a great dynamic between these kids. The huntsman and his dog wolf thing, fascinating story behind all of that. And one in particular has my heart. And the crows and that story, the queen and her backstory, and then the three sisters that we learn about, the backstory of the old wind witch and all of what happened there to bring the dark magic in, what the hedge witch can do, I think there's 3 types of magic, and what each magic can do. So good, so atmospheric. It's just, what the crows can do, like all of it, how it all fits in. And then I think it was unicorns or something with the powers, and how all that connects, and the ending and how epic it was, and everything we learned, the twist. Oh, this was so good. I cannot wait to read another book by her. I'm so excited for her next book to come out. This was phenomenal. And because I just can't, the spot for my second favorite middle grade of 2021 will be a tie too. And then I think the spot for number 1 will be a tie too. So first in the tie for number 2 will be the Stormwatch Diaries by Christiana Furlia, I think so you say it. And the book 1 is Legend of the Storm Sneezer, Legend of the Rainbow Eater. Beautiful illustrations. Legend Seeker, part-time ghost hunter, time traveler. 13-year-old Rose Schuyler sneezed a magical storm cloud at birth, and it's followed her around ever since. But when storming causes one too many public disasters, Rose is taken to Heartstone, an asylum for unstable magic. Its location? The heart of a haunted forest whose trees have mysteriously turned to stone. They say the ghosts are bound to the woods. Then why does Rose see them drifting outside the windows at night? And why is there a graveyard on the grounds filled with empty graves? Guided by her future selves via time-traveling letters, Rose and Merrick, best friend and potential figment of her imagination, must solve the mystery of the specters and the stone trees before the ghosts unleashed a legendary enemy that will make their own spooks look like a couple of holy bed sheets and destroy Heartstone Asylum. Letters from the future are piling up. Rose can't save Heartstone herself. However, 5 of herself, a magical storm cloud, and a guardian angel who might very well be imaginary. Now that's a silver lining. But will they find what killed the ghost before what killed the ghost finds them? I love this series. It is so good. And you have like author's interlude where all the different me's from different times like talk, because it's like they're writing the story down, and so they're talking back and forth telling us the story. And in current time, Rose talks to us, the reader, too, and it's just so phenomenal. And I don't remember if he does in this one, but as time Merrick does occasionally too, like they talk about us. And it's just phenomenal. And all the little mini-me's. Editing bell again. When I say mini-me's and future me's, I'm referring to Rose in the book. There are mini Rose and future Rose, and that's what I mean when I keep saying mini-me. Like the mini-me's and then the future me's. It's just so good. The humor is phenomenal. Rose's humor is so on point, and the banter and dynamic between her and Merrick is so good. Like, her and Merrick have my heart. Like, they're like one soul. Like, they were meant to be friends and in each other's lives, and it's just so beautiful. And what happens to her, what her parents do, is so horrible, and just it feels like your soul is being ripped out. But you know, from the time traveling aspect and the future things, how things end up in some ways, but not all, and you're excited to see how we get to that part. And the second one is even better. It's like it's such a mind trip, because the way it all comes together, and I don't even know how she could write this without having a migraine the whole time, having it all come together so perfectly, and the twist, and then it was phenomenal. I just don't even know how she did it, but I was blown away again, and I need the third book. I was so happy when this came out, and they're just the cutest. And like I said, the humor is amazing. The plot is so imaginative and original, and just the best characters. Like, she has a husky in here that has to wear these things. It's just so cute. And then like Silas and Goremonger, oh, they have my heart. Just the ending of even this one, it was just so epic, and oh, so good. I just love this series so much. The other one tied for spot number 2 is Songs of Magic series by S.A. Patrick, versus The Darkness of Dragons. And A Vanishing of Griffins. Mine's rubbing off. In a world of dragons, song spells, pipers, and battles, Patch Brightwater is a boy of disgrace. Thrown in jail for playing a forbidden spell, he is no one's idea of a hero. But when he discovers the deadly truth, the evil piper of Hamlin is on the loose. With the help of Wren, a girl cursed to live as a rat, and Barver, a fire-breathing dragon griff, Patch must stop the piper, sparking the biggest battle of them all. 3 accidental heroes versus 1 legendary villain. An epic adventure is born. Man, these are good. I have my third book pre-ordered, and I cannot wait for it to get here. It's like a reimagining of Pied Piper in a way. And this world is phenomenal with the dragons, the griffins, the Dragocryph, the friendships. I mean, like, the girl cursed as a rat, and then the bracelet she gets, she can do, and then the people they meet to help them along their journey, and the journey they go on together, and then Patch himself, and then Barver. Oh, he has my heart. They have the best friendship. Like, this friendship, the way it's written, and these characters, oh, you just fall in love. It's so great. Their dynamic together is phenomenal. You love them so much, just as much as they love each other. And I just, they're so good. And then the evil piper and everything we learn, the mystery surrounding that and what he's doing, and then the ending. Man, these are phenomenal. I cannot wait to read the third book. I'm sad it's going to be over. I think that's the last book. But I feel so happy to have read them. Like, these characters and this story and this world, like everything about it, the characters especially, they're so great. I loved them so much. Both books, and the next one's even better. Like, they just, oh, my heart. And like I said, I count duologies or the series as one. So tied for my number 1 middle grade of 2021 is a duology, and then 4 books in a series I read. I don't want to do one and then another, so you think one's better than the other, so I'll just tell them both at the same time and then read the synopsis. And I'll read the synopsis of this one, because I can't read the synopsis of this one. But it's The Monsters of Rookhaven by Peragine, and the next 4 books in the whole Green Glass House world I had read of Kate Milford. Since this one does have a synopsis I can read. Which was The Monsters of Rookhaven. Recently read the sequel, The Shadows of Rookhaven. Maribel has always known she is a monster. When the magical glamour protecting her unusual family from the human world is torn and an orphan brother and sister stumble upon Rookhaven, Maribel soon discovers that friendship can be found in the outside world. But the terror between the 2 worlds has let danger in, and as evil stalks Maribel and her family, it is quickly becoming clear that the true monsters aren't necessarily the ones you see. I did talk about these in detail in a recent reads I did recently of this book, so I won't go on too much about it. So like I said many times, I've read all this author's books now, I think. He's definitely a favorite author, but not only is this world and this story and the writing also incredible, he writes the best characters, and Piglet in here is probably one of my favorite characters. He's one of my favorite characters ever, if not the favorite. But he's just such a beautiful character, and just a soul, his whole outlook on everything and his thoughts. You just feel so lucky to be able to be reading his thoughts and sharing a moment in his head, and makes you think about who the monsters in the world really are. It's just so symbolic in so many ways. And I'm not going to go on too much because, like I said, I have already. But all the mysteries surrounding Maribel and everything we learn about the family and everything we learn about her and her backstory along with her is so intriguing. I love all of it. The characters are phenomenal. they have your heart. They never leave you. They stay with you. And I don't know if there'll be more, but I really hope so, because it's just, oh, they're so beautiful. And then I had read all the rest of the books this year in the Green Glass House world by Kate Milford, because even though some of them aren't labeled under the Green Glass House series like these, if you go to her website, it's all connected, and the way she does that is just so brilliant. And there's also one on here that I don't have it's only, and because it's so rare of a print, I had to read it. It was a short ebook, so I tolerated it since this is my second favorite series of all time, just to get it. But these are, this phenomenal. And I think Rialto, that's supposed to be coming this year, I think she said was connected to this part of this world. So I'm very excited because I love, these are very definitely darker up in my grade. And then the Left-Handed Fate. So I read the one I talked about, and then the Bone Shaker. And these have like a steampunk feel too, which I loved, which is probably even more why I enjoyed them a lot. Beautiful illustrations throughout. The Broken Lands. And also illustrations of the Left-Handed Fate. Beautiful illustrations. I love this part of this time and world too. So they're all different parts of this world she's created in different times. It's like, I don't even know how she wrote it, because even trying to explain it gives me a headache. But I'm so glad she did. And then the most recent one, the Raconteurs, I don't know how to say it, Commonplace book, and it says a Green Glass House story. And this one, if you read the first book, the book that Milo's reading in it, this is supposed to be like that. So, oh, so phenomenal. I cannot wait for another book from her to come out this year. It's just, and like I said, like they're all the story in their own right, but they're all connected. So it's not like she's coming out, it's not like the Shadow Hunters or whatever that just keeps going and won't stop. And it's like, I've never read them, but people say it's the same thing over and over. No, it's like they're their own books in their own rights, different characters and different storylines, but she connects them all, and it's just brilliant. And I love it. And like there's different things like I love about each. And like I said, the steampunk parts of these, and like the devil and having to trick him and all the things, it's just so good. It's so creative. And of course I love seeing the devil get beat, but man, so good. All right, y'all, that is my top 14 middle grade of 2021. I'm glad I had this thought during my last video, because I'm sure a lot of y'all, that's what y'all had wanted anyway, but I couldn't not include at least 30 some of some other favorites, so, and it gives me more videos to do. So I hope y'all enjoyed this. Today's shirt is Faith. Gotta stay 5 by 5. I love her. I love Elijah Dushku anyway. But I hope you enjoyed it, and if you would like to subscribe, I would love that. And have y'all read any of these? Do you agree, disagree? Do you want to read them now? Let me know in the comments, and I will see y'all in my next video. Bye.